If you've ever found yourself stuck in a cycle of short bursts of motivation followed by burnout, or maybe you've struggled to stay consistent with your goals, this is for you. The truth is, you can train your brain to crave growth and progress in a way that makes it easier to stay motivated, even on the toughest days. The key to unlocking that power is a reset of how you think, how you act, and most importantly, how you feel about progress. This isn't about some magical secret or one-size-fits-all hack. It's about getting real with yourself and learning how to build habits that reinforce the growth you want to see in your life. It's about making the process of improvement something that excites you, something you look forward to, rather than something you force yourself to do out of obligation. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share practical steps that will guide you toward resetting your brain, turning your focus to what truly matters, and teaching yourself to celebrate every bit of progress, no matter how small. You'll learn how to push through the moments when motivation feels low, how to stay consistent even when the excitement fades, and how to build the momentum you need to achieve long-term success. The best part, this isn't just about learning how to reach your goals, it's about enjoying the process of getting there. Stick with me and you'll walk away with a fresh perspective on growth and a new set of tools that will help you stay on track, no matter what. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Commit to growth by taking action every single day. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It's not something you stumble into or wait around for. It's something you choose. You either make the decision to grow or you make the decision to stay the same. There is no middle ground. You're either moving forward or you're not. And if you want real progress in your life, if you want to become someone you're proud of, you have to commit to it. You have to show up. Every day. No matter how you feel, no matter what's happening around you. Because the truth is, life isn't waiting for you to feel ready. It rewards those who act. The reason most people stay stuck is simple. They confuse intention with action. They plan, they think, they talk, but they don't do. They believe wanting something is enough, that somehow desiring a better life will automatically lead them there. But that's not how it works. Growth requires motion. It needs effort. It needs consistency. You can't grow without action. You can't get better if you keep standing still. And the longer you delay, the harder it becomes to move at all. You don't need the perfect plan to begin. You don't need to have everything figured out. What you need is the courage to start. The strength to do something today that makes you stronger tomorrow. That's how growth happens. One action at a time. One decision at a time. One day at a time. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing something, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because that's when it counts. That's when you prove to yourself that you're serious. That you're no longer settling for less than what you're capable of. The world is full of people who want to change their lives, but very few are willing to do what it actually takes. Most people want the reward without the work. They want transformation without the struggle. But you can't reset your brain without effort. You can't train yourself to crave growth without discipline. And that discipline has to show up every single day. Not just when it's convenient. Not just when motivation is high. But every day, especially on the days you feel like quitting. Because those are the days that build the strongest version of you. Think about what your life could look like 1 year from now if you chose to take action daily. Not massive action. Not unrealistic changes. Just daily action. Just consistent forward movement. Imagine how much stronger, calmer, more focused you could be if you decided that every single day was an opportunity to improve. That every day mattered. That every decision either pulls you closer to growth or pushes you further into stagnation. The truth is, you're always training yourself. You're either training yourself to grow, or you're training yourself to avoid growth. The choice is always yours. Every time you choose to act instead of waiting, you change something inside you. You begin to break the cycle of hesitation. You silence the voice in your head that keeps saying, maybe tomorrow. You stop feeding the excuses that keep you stuck. And you start feeding your progress. It may not be dramatic. It may not even feel like it's working at first. But growth is quiet in the beginning. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up later in the way you think, the way you respond, the way you live. Action is the reset button for your mind. It disrupts the loop of overthinking and self-doubt. It cuts through the noise. When you move, you take back control. You stop being a passive observer of your own life and become the author of it. That's where confidence comes from. Not from waiting to feel good enough, but from doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel ready. Confidence is built by action. You build trust in yourself every time you show up and follow through. Even if the result isn't perfect. Even if you mess up. The act of showing up is what transforms you. Growth also requires honesty. You have to be real with yourself. You have to stop pretending that you're trying when you know you're avoiding the hard stuff. You have to stop lying to yourself about how much time you waste. You have to face the parts of you that want comfort more than progress. That honesty is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Because you can't change what you're not willing to confront. If you want a different life, you have to live differently. And that begins with taking daily responsibility for your time, your choices, and your direction. It's not enough to read about change. It's not enough to feel inspired. Information doesn't equal transformation. You have to apply it. You have to integrate it into your life. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. The only way to create lasting change is to act on what you know. Apply what you've learned. Test it. Struggle with it. Fail with it. That's how growth works. It's messy. It's real. And it only happens through experience. You can't keep telling yourself that you'll start when life gets easier. Life doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. And that strength only comes from doing. You can't wait for the perfect moment, because there is no perfect moment. You only have now. This moment, this day. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Every day you don't take action is a day you reinforce your old patterns. And the longer you wait, the deeper those patterns become. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Don't get caught up in what others are doing. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Your only job is to be better than you were yesterday. That's it. And you do that by acting, by putting in the reps, by making your growth a non-negotiable part of your day, like brushing your teeth, like showing up to work. It has to become who you are, not something you do when you have time, something you do because it defines you. If you want your brain to crave growth, you have to condition it through repetition. You have to teach it that effort equals reward, that challenge equals progress. You have to associate discomfort with development. The more often you act in alignment with your goals, the more your brain adapts to that pattern. It starts to seek out growth. It starts to crave it, not because it's easy, but because it's familiar. And once that happens, discipline becomes second nature. You stop negotiating with yourself and just do what needs to be done. Every day is an opportunity, a blank page, a chance to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. And the only way to do that is through action. Not once, not twice. Every day, even on the boring days. Even when you don't see immediate results. Because growth is slow at first. But it compounds, it builds, and eventually it becomes undeniable. People start to notice. You start to notice. And what once felt impossible begins to feel normal. It's not about motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. You can't rely on it. What you need is discipline. A decision that your future matters more than your current mood. That your goals matter more than your excuses. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not always fun. But it's what moves the needle. It's what separates those who talk from those who live it. And the good news is it can be trained. Just like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start by choosing one area of your life to improve. Just one. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Pick something simple. Something measurable. Something you can do daily. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's exercising. Maybe it's journaling for 10 minutes. Whatever it is, make it your anchor. Your non-negotiable. Do it every single day. No matter what. Build that habit into your identity. And once it's solid, add another. Stack your wins. Stack your growth. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. The days you show up when it's hard are worth more than the days it feels easy. That's where the transformation lives, in the struggle, in the repetition, in the quiet moments when no one's watching. That's where you earn your confidence. That's where you prove to yourself that you're no longer living on autopilot. Stop thinking so much. Start doing. You already know what needs to change. You already know what you're capable of. The question is, will you act on it? Will you honor your potential? Will you stop hiding behind distractions and start creating a life that actually means something to you? The only way out of stagnation is through discipline, through action, through consistent intentional effort. Growth is your responsibility. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. It's up to you to build it. Brick by brick, day by day, decision by decision. And the most powerful decision you can make is to show up, to act. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because that's how you train your brain to crave growth. That's how you create a future worth waking up for. It doesn't happen overnight. But it happens. Slowly, steadily, quietly. And then suddenly, everything is different. You think differently. You move differently. You carry yourself with a quiet power. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've become someone who keeps showing up. Someone who acts. Someone who grows. That's the kind of person who can't be stopped. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the right time. Choose growth now. Choose action now. Make today count. Make this moment the turning point. And keep moving forward. No matter what. You're capable of more than you know. And the only way to discover that is to act like it. Every single day.
Chapter 2. Embrace challenges to build strength and resilience daily. Every day, you're going to be tested by something. It might be the moment your alarm rings earlier than you'd like. It could be the traffic that stretches your patience thin. It could be a rejection you weren't ready for, or a task you didn't expect. These moments, often brushed off as inconveniences, are the very opportunities through which you build the internal muscle called resilience. Most people avoid challenges because they assume comfort equals happiness. But comfort is not where you grow. Comfort is where you decay slowly without noticing. If you're serious about growth, you need to run toward the discomfort, not away from it. The truth is simple. You won't become stronger by reading about strength. You become stronger by being stretched beyond your current limits. The gym builds muscle by creating resistance. Life builds character through the exact same process.
Every mental, emotional, or physical challenge you encounter is a chance to become something more than you were the day before. You don't develop discipline when everything is easy. You develop it when you still show up despite the difficulty, despite the fear, despite the urge to quit. Each challenge is a quiet invitation from life asking, are you ready to level up? You don't have to wait for some life-altering crisis to build resilience. The small daily struggles matter. Choosing not to complain when you're tired. Choosing to show up and give effort even when you're uninspired. Choosing to finish what you started instead of looking for an excuse. These decisions, repeated over time, become the foundation of a mind that cannot be broken easily. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you train. Like any form of strength, it comes with repetition, tension, and conscious effort. The way you react to adversity reveals the strength of your mindset. Most people panic, procrastinate, or point fingers when life becomes uncomfortable. But growth requires a different approach. You must learn to breathe through the discomfort and think clearly when things fall apart. You must teach yourself to be calm in chaos. You must develop the habit of facing problems instead of avoiding them. This is how you move from surviving to thriving. If you constantly avoid what challenges you, your comfort becomes your cage. The moment you stop pushing yourself, you begin slipping backward without noticing. The hard path is hard for a reason, because it's the only one that leads somewhere worthwhile. There's no growth in staying where things are safe. There's no transformation in doing what you've always done. Real change demands that you confront what you fear, what you dislike, and what you've avoided. That's where your strength is hiding. That's where your next level is buried, under the weight you're scared to lift. The reward for embracing challenges isn't just external success. It's something deeper. You build a level of self-trust that nobody can take from you. When you've been through the fire and stayed standing, you begin to believe in yourself on a level that doesn't need external validation. You stop doubting your ability to handle what comes. You know you can handle it because you've already done it before. And that's a kind of quiet power that can't be faked or taught. It can only be earned. Most people wait for motivation to act. But the reality is, challenges don't care about your mood. They arrive whether you feel like dealing with them or not. So you need to train yourself to act regardless of how you feel. Feelings are temporary. Commitment is what builds something lasting. If you only act when it's convenient, you'll never achieve anything that requires real endurance. But when you act in the face of resistance, you gain momentum. And momentum builds more than progress. It builds identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who doesn't fold when it gets hard. Someone who doesn't quit when it gets inconvenient. Someone who doesn't need perfect conditions to take action. That's who you need to become, not just for your goals but for your inner peace. When you learn to embrace the grind, the pain, the uncertainty, something changes in you. You stop being ruled by emotion. You start being ruled by purpose. Challenges don't mean something is wrong. They often mean something is right. If your path is hard, it usually means it's pushing you toward your growth edge. That's exactly where you want to be. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's necessary. If you avoid difficulty, you avoid maturity. If you avoid discomfort, you avoid expansion. And that's a far greater cost than temporary pain. Because if you don't embrace life's challenges, they start controlling you. You become reactive instead of proactive. You become a victim of your environment instead of the architect of your future. The strength you build by facing adversity is a strength that lasts. It carries over into every area of your life. You become better at handling stress. You become more patient with others. You become more focused under pressure. Every obstacle becomes training. Every hard day becomes fuel. Every setback becomes a test of your mindset and a chance to deepen your resolve. There's no secret formula, no shortcut, just you showing up when you don't feel like it. You doing the difficult thing when nobody's watching. You being consistent even when progress is invisible. That's what separates those who transform from those who talk. The work is not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it's always necessary. And over time it creates something unstoppable in you. So stop looking for easy days. Stop wishing for everything to go smoothly. Instead, wake up and welcome the resistance. Because it's not in the easy days that you become who you're meant to be. It's in the difficult days where your grit is tested and your growth is forged. You don't become stronger by avoiding the storm. You become stronger by walking through it, with your head held high, refusing to break. Every time you embrace a challenge, you silence the voice inside that tells you to stay small. You overpower the urge to give up. You remind yourself that growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from courage. Courage to face the unknown. Courage to risk failing. Courage to keep moving forward when doubt creeps in. That courage builds confidence, and that confidence becomes the foundation of everything you want to achieve. The more you expose yourself to difficulty, the less power difficulty has over you. You become familiar with discomfort, and in that familiarity, you find strength. You stop flinching at pressure. You stop retreating at resistance. You start leaning into it, knowing that it's shaping you, it's building you, it's turning you into someone you can respect. What most people see as suffering, you begin to see as training. What most people avoid, you begin to chase, because you understand something they don't. The pain is temporary, but the growth is permanent. The struggle ends, but the strength stays with you forever. And that's what this journey is about. Not avoiding pain, but using it. Not fearing challenges, but facing them. Not wishing life was easier, but choosing to become stronger. You don't get to control what life throws at you, but you do get to control how you respond. You get to decide whether you run or rise, whether you escape or endure. And every single day, that decision is shaping you. The question is, who are you becoming through those choices? Because life will keep testing you, not to break you but to prepare you, to shape you, to mold you into someone capable of more than you thought possible. If you commit to facing your challenges head-on, you will discover a version of yourself that is unshakable, a version of yourself that doesn't back down, a version of yourself that stands tall even when everything feels uncertain. And once you meet that version of you, there's no going back, because you'll know you've earned it. Not through luck, not through talent, but through relentless effort, day in and day out. That is the real reward, becoming someone who can handle anything life throws your way.
Chapter 3. Focus on small, consistent steps to create big progress. Most people get discouraged because they expect progress to feel massive from the start. They want visible change by the end of the week, a total transformation by the end of the month. But that kind of thinking leads to burnout, not growth. Progress doesn't arrive all at once. It reveals itself slowly to the person who stays committed, even when nothing seems to be happening. You don't need to make a giant leap today. You just need to move one step forward and keep doing that every single day. There's a quiet power in consistency that most people overlook. They chase quick wins, intense bursts, and overnight success. But lasting change doesn't come from intensity, it comes from repetition. You can sprint for a day and collapse,
or you can walk every day and cross the entire country. Small steps taken consistently will always outlast the rare moments of explosive effort, because real transformation doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from what you do daily, even when it's boring, even when it's invisible. You build discipline by showing up. You gain clarity by doing the work. You create momentum by stacking small actions until they compound into results. If you expect perfection, you'll quit when you slip up. But if you focus on progress, you'll keep going, knowing that each step adds to the foundation you're building. Even on the days when you feel like nothing changed, something did, because you proved to yourself that you're the kind of person who follows through. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a master plan with every detail mapped. All you need is the next right step and the courage to take it. The road becomes clearer as you move forward, not while standing still trying to plan everything in your head. Taking small actions gives you feedback, and that feedback gives you direction. You learn, adjust, improve, and slowly the small becomes significant. The hardest part for most people is patience. They want the reward without the repetition. They want confidence without the commitment. But everything worth having demands time and effort. You can't rush excellence. You can't microwave mastery. If you're willing to do the simple things daily, the reading, the writing, the training, the reflection, then growth becomes inevitable. Not because it's fast, but because it's consistent, and consistency wins every time. Every great result is just the result of 1,000 tiny choices made without applause. Waking up early instead of sleeping in. Saying no to distractions when no one is watching. Doing the work even when the motivation is gone. Those are the small victories that build big change. Not because they're dramatic, but because they're deliberate. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're building something real, something that lasts, something you can be proud of when you look back. Even if you take the smallest action today, 5 minutes of writing, 1 push-up, 1 healthy meal, you've moved forward. You've broken the inertia. You've cast a vote for the person you want to become. And when you repeat those small wins every day, they begin to rewrite your identity. You start to believe in your ability to change. You start to feel momentum where there used to be frustration. You stop relying on inspiration and start trusting in your habits. The size of the step doesn't matter as much as the direction you're going. Every step forward counts, no matter how minor it feels. 1 sentence added to a blank page is still progress. 1 mindful breath in the middle of a stressful day is still growth. 1 choice to stay disciplined when it would have been easier to quit, that's how strength is built. You may not see the results right away, but trust that they're stacking. Every small act is a seed. Give it time, and it will grow. What separates those who achieve from those who don't is often not talent. It's the willingness to stay consistent when it feels slow. Those who show up daily, without waiting for perfect conditions, eventually surpass those who only act when they feel like it. Because showing up builds resilience. It strengthens your mindset. It teaches you to rely on action, not emotion. And that's what creates results that last beyond a burst of enthusiasm. Progress can be boring. That's the truth. It's not always exciting, it's not always dramatic, and most of the time, no one will see what you're doing. But that's also what makes it so powerful. When you learn to love the process, the repetition, the small wins, the quiet victories, you unlock a mindset that is built for the long haul. You no longer need external rewards to stay focused. You move forward because it's who you are, not because someone is watching. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There's just now, and the choice you make in it. You're either feeding your growth or feeding your stagnation. And the smallest choices, what you read, what you eat, what you think, how you speak to yourself, they all matter. They add up over time, shaping your future silently. If you keep showing up for yourself, you're building something far greater than short-term wins. You're building a mindset that thrives in every season. Don't underestimate the power of a 5-minute effort. That's where most people give up. They tell themselves it's not enough, so they do nothing. But something is always better than nothing. A short workout is better than no movement. A single focused hour is better than a scattered day. One honest conversation is better than 1,000 excuses. The moment you take action, no matter how small, you're proving that your future matters to you. That's how you start building momentum. If you miss a day, start again. If you mess up, don't spiral, reset. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be consistent. That's how you build trust with yourself. That's how you break old patterns. You keep showing up. You keep choosing effort. You keep moving forward, even when it's slow. Because every step is reshaping you. Every decision is redefining what's possible for your life. You might not feel the progress daily, but when you look back in 6 months, a year, 5 years, you'll see it clearly. You'll realize that those quiet days of effort were never wasted. They were laying the foundation for everything you've become. So don't rush it. Don't quit it. Keep going. Step by step, small move by small move. That's how greatness is built, not in noise, not in hype, but in the quiet discipline of daily action. Chapter 4. Train your mind to embrace discomfort as growth. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They seek the path that feels safe, easy, and predictable, not realizing that in doing so, they also avoid the very opportunities that would make them stronger. Growth never comes from comfort. It comes from the tension, the uncertainty, the pressure that forces you to rise above your old limitations. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the catalyst. It's the signal that you've stepped beyond the edge of who you were and into the space where transformation happens. The mind resists what it doesn't control. When things get hard, when uncertainty creeps in, the natural instinct is to pull back, to retreat into familiarity. But familiarity doesn't stretch you. It doesn't challenge your assumptions. It doesn't expose your weaknesses. And it doesn't force you to become more than you were yesterday. You grow when you're willing to sit in the fire without flinching, to stay present when things get uncomfortable instead of running for relief. Discomfort teaches you things that ease never will. It reveals what you truly believe about yourself. It exposes the habits you've built to avoid effort. It shows you whether your discipline is real or just something you talk about. Most people want change without the process that change demands. They want results without the inner battles. But the only way to truly change is to step into the difficult moments, feel everything they bring, and keep going anyway. Every time you choose discomfort over avoidance, you strengthen your mind. You prove to yourself that you can survive what you once ran from. That's how mental toughness is built. Not by talking about strength, but by enduring moments that test it. You might feel fear, doubt, or fatigue. But if you continue despite them, they start to lose their power over you. You realize that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. Your mind is like a muscle. The more you expose it to resistance, the more resilient it becomes. Just like lifting weights tears your muscles, so they rebuild stronger. Facing discomfort breaks your old mental patterns, so they can be rebuilt with greater clarity and grit. The more often you walk toward the difficult, the less afraid you become of it. Discomfort becomes something you use, not something you hide from. It becomes part of your process instead of something you try to avoid. Growth lives in the spaces where most people hesitate. It's in the hard conversation you don't want to have. It's in the workout you dread. It's in the silence that forces you to face your own thoughts. It's in the decision to keep going when no one is watching. If you only do what's easy, you'll never build the mental habits needed to handle adversity. But if you train yourself to lean into discomfort, you'll be equipped for whatever life throws at you. Most discomfort isn't physical, it's mental. It's the discomfort of boredom, of repetition, of doing the right thing when no reward is immediate. It's the mental friction of pushing through resistance when the outcome is uncertain. That's the type of discomfort that builds the deepest strength. Anyone can work hard when they're inspired. But real power comes from doing the hard things when they're inconvenient, unglamorous, and quietly demanding. You learn who you really are in those moments when giving up seems easier. Do you retreat, or do you rise? Do you rationalize, or do you recommit? The person who trains their mind to stay steady in discomfort becomes unshakable, because life will not always be easy. There will be setbacks, delays, failures, and moments when you question everything. If you've only trained yourself to act when it feels good, you'll break. But if you've built a mindset that welcomes difficulty as fuel, nothing can stop you. Every time you face discomfort willingly, you develop trust in yourself. You start to believe that you can endure. That belief becomes confidence, not the loud kind, but the quiet, steady kind that doesn't waver when things go wrong. You stop needing everything to be perfect before you take action. You stop waiting for the right mood. You stop chasing the easy route. You become the type of person who keeps going, not because it's easy, but because growth is worth it. This is not about suffering for the sake of suffering. It's about understanding that discomfort is a tool. It refines you. It strips away your excuses. It sharpens your focus. It reveals what truly matters. Most of the breakthroughs you want will only show up after you've passed through discomfort. You won't feel ready. You won't feel certain. But if you can take the next step anyway, you'll discover strength you didn't know you had. Your mind can be trained. You can condition it to respond differently. Instead of resisting challenges, you can learn to recognize them as invitations to evolve. Instead of panicking in chaos, you can train yourself to breathe and stay calm. Instead of quitting when things get tough, you can build the habit of digging deeper. None of this happens overnight. But every day you practice, your mind becomes sharper, steadier, and more capable. You have to stop viewing discomfort as a sign to stop. Start seeing it as a sign you're on the right path. If it's difficult, that means you're doing something meaningful. If it's uncomfortable, that means you're stretching beyond your old limits. Don't run from that. Use it. Let discomfort become the signal that growth is taking place. Let it guide you, not scare you. That shift in mindset will change everything. You don't have to love the pain. You just have to respect what it gives you. Discomfort is temporary, but the person you become by embracing it, that's permanent. That strength carries into every area of your life. It shows up in how you handle stress, how you face failure, how you lead others, and how you show up for yourself. If you want to be mentally unbreakable, you have to put yourself in the fire, not once but regularly, until the fire no longer burns, it builds. So don't wish for things to get easier. Wish for yourself to get stronger. Don't hope that everything will feel good all the time. Train yourself to perform well even when it doesn't. That's the difference between those who want to grow and those who do. Growth is uncomfortable by nature, but it's also necessary, rewarding, and freeing. The sooner you stop avoiding it, the sooner you begin to evolve into the person you were meant to be. The discomfort you embrace today becomes the strength you carry tomorrow. Keep walking into the storm. That's where the transformation happens. Chapter 5. Prioritize your health to fuel continuous improvement. If you want to improve your life, you must start with the one thing that supports every goal, every action, every thought you carry into the world: your health. Everything you're trying to build requires energy. Your goals, your discipline, your personal growth, all of it is fueled by the condition of your body and mind. Without a strong foundation, you will burn out before you even begin to scratch the surface of your potential. Prioritizing your health isn't optional. It's the beginning of every long-term success story. When your body is neglected, it doesn't just affect how you feel physically. It clouds your judgment, weakens your resolve, and steals the energy you need to show up as your best self. You can't think clearly when you're sleep-deprived. You can't lead with strength when your body is constantly fatigued. You can't maintain discipline when your system is running on empty. You must treat your body like the asset it is. You can't just push your way through life without maintaining the machine that carries you through it. Health is not just about avoiding illness. It's about building a strong, resilient foundation that makes you capable of doing hard things consistently. When your body is in a good state, your mind becomes sharper, your decisions get clearer, and your emotional resilience strengthens. You don't crumble under stress because you've built a system that can handle it. You're not reactive to every emotion because your nervous system isn't under constant pressure. You stay steady, focused, and ready to face life fully because your health supports that strength. Too many people only pay attention to their health when it breaks down. They only notice it when it limits them. But the smart ones understand that waiting for pain is foolish. If you train your body, fuel it with care, give it rest, and treat it with respect, it becomes a source of power rather than limitation. Every decision you make today about what you eat, how you move, and how you sleep is either building your strength or draining it. There is no neutral ground. Consistency with your health habits is where the real change happens. It's not about doing something extreme for a short time. It's about doing the small things well every day. Drinking enough water, getting to bed early, moving your body with intention, choosing whole foods over processed ones. These decisions may seem minor in the moment, but stacked over time, they completely reshape your life. The person who wakes up feeling strong and clear has a massive advantage over the one who wakes up exhausted and scattered. Your body reflects your priorities. If your schedule is too full to take care of your health, it's a warning sign that you're not managing your life with intention. Health isn't something you fit in when it's convenient. It's something you structure your life around. You don't find time to move, you make it. You don't try to eat well when everything is perfect. You build systems to make it automatic. You don't wait for the motivation to sleep early. You protect your rest because you understand what's at stake if you don't. There's a deep discipline in health. It's not flashy. It's not always visible to others. But it creates a level of control and self-respect that pours into every other part of your life. When you stick to your physical routine, you build proof that you can follow through. When you resist instant gratification in food or rest, you remind yourself that you are in charge of your life. That type of control spills into your work, your relationships, your mindset. It becomes a quiet strength that others can't see, but you carry it in everything you do. No one can give you your health. You earn it daily. You build it through action. You protect it with intention. And when you have it, you're capable of chasing higher goals without crashing. You can't perform at your best when your foundation is weak. A tired mind, an inflamed body, an exhausted nervous system, these things blur your vision and weaken your resolve. But when your body is aligned and your health is solid, You walk into every challenge with more power and less fear. This isn't about vanity, it's about longevity. It's about waking up 10 years from now still able to move, think and operate at a high level. It's about showing up for your family, not just today, but for years to come with energy and presence. It's about being capable, strong and durable, not just for your goals but for your entire life. You don't invest in health because it's trendy. You invest in it because you understand that everything you care about depends on your ability to stay strong. Health also shapes your emotions. When you eat poorly, you don't just feel sluggish, you become more reactive, less patient, more anxious. When you neglect sleep, your mind doesn't just slow down, it becomes more negative, more scattered, more prone to irrational decisions. But when your body is fueled, rested and active, your emotions stabilize. Your ability to stay composed under pressure improves. Your outlook becomes more positive, more grounded, more focused on growth instead of survival. Don't wait until something breaks to take this seriously. You don't get stronger by accident. You don't stay healthy by chance. You do it by living with intention, making decisions that protect your energy, and refusing to compromise your well-being for temporary convenience. The more you prioritize your health, the more unstoppable you become, because energy is the multiplier of all action. You may have great ideas, strong ambition, and a clear vision, but without health, you won't have the stamina to execute it long term. The greatest advantage you can give yourself is a body and mind that work together in alignment. That alignment comes from habits, not hope. From systems, not excuses. From daily practice, not bursts of effort. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. When you treat your health as non-negotiable, everything else improves. You think better, move better, feel better, and live better. And when life gets hard, and it always will, you'll have the resilience to meet it head-on without falling apart. Your energy is your responsibility. It's something you create, protect and renew through how you live. Prioritize your sleep like it's sacred. Move your body like it's your duty. Eat like you respect your future. And recover like your progress depends on it. Because it does. You can't grind forever on a weak foundation. At some point, the body and mind demand what they've been denied. And the longer you ignore it, the heavier the price you'll pay. So choose the discipline now, over the damage later. Choose intention over indulgence. Choose practices that support your strength rather than habits that drain it. This is your vessel for everything you want to build. Treat it like it matters, because it does more than you know. Every day you nourish your health, you fuel your ability to rise. And the more you rise, the more you realize that the strongest version of yourself begins with how you take care of the foundation you stand on. Chapter 6. Eliminate distractions to sharpen your focus on goals. If you truly want to make progress, you have to stop letting distractions pull your attention in 1,000 directions. Every goal you set demands your full focus, and every distraction you tolerate is a silent thief stealing that focus away. In a world that constantly fights for your attention, the ability to eliminate what doesn't matter is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. You cannot build anything worthwhile if your mind is always scattered. The more noise you remove, the more clearly you can see what really matters. And that clarity gives you the edge most people will never have. Distractions aren't always obvious. They often come disguised as harmless habits, things that feel good in the moment but slowly dissolve your discipline. Scrolling through your phone when you should be working, checking notifications that add no value to your day. Saying yes to every request that comes your way, even when it pulls you off track. Every one of these small distractions creates a break in your focus. One break might not seem like much, but over time, these breaks compound. They drain your momentum and weaken your ability to stay locked in on what you set out to accomplish. If you want to get serious about your goals, you have to protect your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Time lost to distractions is time you never get back. You can't reverse wasted hours. You can't undo the choices you made out of laziness or impulse. What you can do is take control starting now. Create an environment where focus becomes the default, not the exception. Turn off what doesn't serve you. Say no more often. Stop giving your energy to things that don't move you forward. Eliminating distractions isn't just about turning off your phone or staying off social media. It's about building a mindset that values depth over noise. It's about training yourself to sit with one task at a time and go all in. It's about making your goals louder than your temptations. The more you can direct your energy in one clear direction, the faster you move and the more powerful you become. But that only happens when you take full responsibility for your attention and stop letting it get hijacked by trivial things. Focus is a choice, not a personality trait. It's something you train through repetition, through conscious effort, through awareness of what steals it. The people who succeed aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're often the ones who know how to shut out what doesn't matter. They design their lives to eliminate friction. They know that mental clutter creates confusion, and confusion leads to inaction. So they simplify. They remove. They build routines that support concentration rather than chaos. Start with your environment. The space around you affects your mind more than you realize. If you work in a place filled with distractions, don't be surprised when your output is scattered. Clean it up. Remove the unnecessary. Organize it so that it signals focus, not disorder. Then look at your digital life. Your phone, your computer, your inbox. They're all tools. If you let them control you, they'll bury you in noise. But if you take control, they become powerful weapons in service of your growth. Then go deeper. Ask yourself what habits consistently pull you away from progress. Be honest about the things you use to escape effort. It might be entertainment, gossip, procrastination disguised as research, or meaningless conversations. Whatever it is, you need to recognize that every time you choose distraction over discipline, you're slowing down your own development. You're saying your comfort matters more than your future. And that's not a mindset that leads to anything exceptional. When you start eliminating distractions, something powerful happens. You begin to enjoy deep work. You start feeling the satisfaction that comes from sustained effort. You stop seeking stimulation and start creating momentum. Your mind becomes less reactive and more intentional. You don't jump from task to task. You stay locked in, finish what you start, and feel stronger for it. That kind of focus builds confidence, and that confidence builds even greater discipline. It becomes a cycle that feeds your growth every single day. It's not always easy to cut out distractions, especially when they've become habits. But just because something is familiar doesn't mean it's helpful. You have to train yourself to let go of the temporary pleasure that comes from easy tasks and quick dopamine. You have to build a mind that chooses long-term satisfaction over short-term comfort. And the only way to do that is through repeated action. Every time you resist a distraction, you strengthen your control. Every time you redirect your attention, you reinforce your purpose. There will always be more things competing for your focus than you can possibly manage. The key is not to manage them all, it's to eliminate the ones that don't matter. Most people spread their attention too thin and then wonder why they're exhausted but not progressing. Don't fall into that trap. Learn to focus with precision. Be ruthless about what you allow into your space. Make every choice with your long-term vision in mind. Because the more aligned your daily focus is with your goals, the faster you'll get to where you want to be. You don't need more time, you need more focus. You don't need more motivation, you need fewer distractions. You don't need a new plan, you need to actually follow through on the one you already have. The truth is, most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they lack focus. They know what they need to do, but they allow life to pull them in too many directions. If you want to rise above that, you need to protect your focus like it's your future, because it is. Every time you eliminate a distraction, you reclaim a piece of your potential. You make more room for clarity, for execution, for progress. And the more you do it, the more you'll feel your power return. Focus isn't a one-time decision, it's a lifestyle. It's a commitment you renew every time you choose purpose over comfort. And the more you honor that commitment, the more unshakable you become. Because nothing beats a mind that's clear, a routine that's disciplined, and a vision that refuses to get pulled off track.
Chapter 7. Practice gratitude daily to shift your mindset positively. Most people walk through life without ever realizing how much they already have. They wake up thinking about what's missing, what's not working, or what hasn't happened yet. They focus on what they lack rather than what they're blessed with. And because of that, they feel frustrated, anxious, and stuck. But if you stop and look closely, you'll see that the foundation of a strong mindset is built through a simple, powerful habit: practicing gratitude daily. Gratitude isn't just about being thankful when things go right. It's about recognizing the value in every part of your journey, even the difficult moments that teach you something real. Gratitude is the bridge between chaos and clarity. It doesn't mean you settle or stop aiming higher. It means you choose to appreciate what's already in front of you while still striving for more. That mindset grounds you. It stops the spiral of negativity. It rewires your thoughts to focus on strength instead of scarcity. When you look for what's working, you begin to feel empowered. When you acknowledge what you've overcome, you start realizing how capable you are. And that's the shift that changes everything, because once your mindset changes, your life follows. You can't live with constant resentment and expect to feel peace. You can't keep replaying everything that went wrong and expect to move forward with purpose. At some point, you have to decide that your energy is better spent noticing what's still standing, what's still strong, what's still good. When you make gratitude a daily practice, it becomes a lens you look through. Suddenly, setbacks don't define you, they develop you. Delays don't feel like punishment, they feel like preparation. And the more consistently you apply that shift, the more resilient your mindset becomes. It's not about ignoring your problems, it's about refusing to let them consume your perspective. You can hold gratitude and ambition at the same time. You can be thankful for your progress and still be hungry for more. In fact, that balance is what fuels steady improvement. When you start your day by focusing on what you're grateful for, your brain becomes primed for possibility instead of problems. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop chasing validation and start owning your power. Gratitude also strengthens your relationships. When you consistently express appreciation to the people in your life, trust builds. Communication becomes healthier. Resentment fades. People feel seen, and when people feel seen, they respond with more honesty, more loyalty, and more support. Practicing gratitude isn't just good for your own mindset, it elevates the energy you bring into every space you enter. It creates an environment where growth, connection, and mutual respect become the standard.
But like any mindset shift, gratitude takes discipline. It's not something you wait to feel, it's something you choose to practice. Some days it'll come easily, other days it'll feel forced. But those are the days it matters most. Anyone can be thankful when life feels light, but when things are heavy, when the future feels unclear, when you're tired, that's when gratitude becomes your anchor. That's when you prove to yourself that your mindset isn't controlled by circumstances, but by your inner strength. Make it a habit. Write down 3 things every morning that you're grateful for. Big or small, it doesn't matter. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to train your mind to notice what's working, what's healing, what's improving. The more you do it, the more your brain starts to look for reasons to feel good rather than reasons to complain. And when your thoughts shift, your decisions shift. When your decisions shift, your results shift. It all starts with the perspective you choose each morning. You don't have to wait for everything to be perfect to feel grateful. You just need to slow down long enough to realize that progress itself is something to celebrate. Your ability to keep going, to keep growing, to keep showing up, that's something to be proud of. You might not be where you want to be yet, but you're further than you were. That perspective keeps you grounded and hungry at the same time. It helps you stay focused without being frustrated. Gratitude also protects your peace. In a world that constantly tries to convince you that you're not enough, gratitude reminds you that you are. In a culture that pushes comparison, gratitude keeps you centered. When you're grounded in what's real, you stop being shaken by what's trending. You stop measuring your worth by other people's opinions. You stop chasing things that don't even align with your values. Instead, you move with intention. You act from alignment, not from insecurity. Your mindset is your most valuable asset, and gratitude sharpens it every single day. It's what separates those who endure with strength from those who crumble under pressure. When you train your mind to focus on what's good, you gain the power to navigate what's hard. You stop needing life to be easy. You become someone who can handle it when it's not. That mental toughness doesn't come from comfort. It comes from repeatedly choosing appreciation over frustration. Don't underestimate the impact of small daily choices. A few minutes of focused gratitude every day will transform the way you show up in every area of life. You'll notice your patience increase, your stress decrease, your presence deepen. You'll stop running on autopilot and start living with greater intention. It becomes less about chasing and more about building, less about reacting and more about responding. You step into a version of yourself that's calm, confident, and in control. And when challenges come, and they will, you'll face them with a steadier mind. You won't crumble every time something doesn't go your way. You'll adapt faster. You'll recover stronger. Because your foundation won't be built on what's missing, it'll be built on what's solid. That's the true power of gratitude. It gives you the inner strength to carry on, even when the outer world feels uncertain. This isn't about blind optimism. It's about deliberate mindset design. It's about choosing your thoughts the same way you choose your actions, with purpose, with discipline, with clarity. When you live like that, you don't need constant motivation. You don't rely on outside validation. You operate from within. And that's how you stay consistent, no matter what life throws at you. So take the time, practice it every day. Make it part of your routine. Anchor yourself in gratitude so deeply that nothing can shake your perspective. Let it guide your actions, your decisions, your goals. Let it remind you how far you've come and how capable you are of going further. You don't need more to be thankful. You just need to see more clearly. Gratitude gives you that clarity. And from that clarity, you'll create a life that reflects your highest self. Chapter 8. Develop habits that support your personal growth journey. Your personal growth will never happen by accident. It's shaped by the habits you choose and repeat, day after day. You can read every book, listen to every podcast, and talk about change as much as you want, but without action built into your daily routine, progress will always remain a concept instead of a reality. Growth is not a one-time effort, it's a lifestyle. And that lifestyle is designed by the habits you commit to with consistency and discipline. You don't wake up one day suddenly transformed. You earn it through the effort you put in when nobody's watching and nothing feels easy. Habits are how you take control of your identity. They're not just things you do, they're how you define who you are becoming. If you build habits that align with your values, goals, and purpose, you give yourself the structure necessary to evolve into your strongest version. But if your days are filled with distractions, excuses, or comfort-seeking behaviors, then you'll stay stuck in cycles that drain you instead of develop you. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to build one habit that supports your growth and repeat it until it becomes part of who you are. The first step is clarity. If you're not clear on who you want to become, your habits will have no direction. So ask yourself, what kind of person am I trying to be? What does that version of me do every day? How do they think? How do they respond to adversity? What do they prioritize when nobody else is looking? From there, your habits become obvious. If you want to be physically strong, you train daily. If you want to be mentally sharp, you protect your focus and feed your mind with discipline. If you want to be emotionally stable, you journal, reflect, and learn to respond instead of react. You don't need motivation when your habits are strong. Discipline removes the need to constantly feel inspired. When your routine is built around growth-oriented actions, you no longer have to negotiate with yourself. You wake up and do the work because it's who you are now, not because it feels good or because someone else is watching. That's how confidence grows. That's how inner strength is built, not by short bursts of motivation, but by consistency through discomfort, boredom, and resistance. The beauty of habits is that they compound over time. You won't always see immediate results, but if you stay consistent, the long-term rewards are undeniable. Small actions done daily become the foundation of something massive. Waking up early, journaling your goals, eating clean, moving your body, reading with intention. These aren't glamorous on their own, but they build a life that's aligned, strong, and focused. The results you want don't come from intensity, they come from repetition. You don't need to overhaul your life in a day. You just need to choose habits that keep you on your path and honor them with unwavering consistency. But not all habits serve you, and one of the most important things you can do for your growth is to cut the ones that weaken your progress. This means being brutally honest with yourself. Are your habits building you or breaking you? Are you wasting your time scrolling, complaining, or avoiding what matters? Are you letting comfort keep you from rising? The truth is, you already know which habits are holding you back. You just have to stop protecting them. Growth requires sacrifice, and often that means letting go of patterns that feel good in the moment, but sabotage your future. You also have to be patient with the process. Building new habits takes time. Your mind will resist change. You'll slip up. You'll want to quit. That's normal. But progress isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. When you fall, get back up immediately. When you miss a day, don't miss two. When your energy is low, show up with whatever strength you have left. That level of consistency trains your mind to stay committed even when things aren't ideal. And over time, you become someone who doesn't rely on perfect conditions. You rely on your own reliability. Another key to building strong habits is your environment. If you surround yourself with distractions, excuses, and people who don't value growth, it's going to be harder to stay consistent. But if you create a space where discipline is easier, and you spend time with people who challenge you to rise, your habits become easier to maintain. Keep your tools nearby. Eliminate temptations. Set reminders. Structure your day with purpose. Make it difficult to fail. Your environment should make success your default setting, not something you have to fight for every day. Accountability helps too. Whether it's tracking your progress or having a mentor who checks in on you, knowing someone is paying attention can drive you to stay on track. But ultimately, the most powerful accountability is the one you hold with yourself. Do what you said you would do, even when no one else would notice if you skipped it. That's where real self-respect is built. When you start proving to yourself that your word matters, your belief in yourself starts growing automatically. Your habits don't need to be extreme. They just need to be consistent and aligned. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up repeatedly, regardless of how you feel. One strong habit practiced daily is better than a dozen intentions left undone. You don't need more time, more motivation, or more information. You need commitment. And you need to honor that commitment when it's inconvenient. That's when it counts the most. Look at your daily routine. It's either a blueprint for growth or a setup for regret. Every choice adds up. Every behavior leaves a mark. If your actions reflect your highest self, you'll move forward even when life gets difficult. But if you keep postponing discipline and making excuses, your potential will stay buried under patterns that keep you small. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to build those habits for you. It's your job. It's your responsibility. And it's your power. There is freedom in structure. The more you build habits that serve you, the more mental space you free up to pursue your vision. You're not constantly battling yourself. You're not negotiating every morning about whether to follow through. You move with clarity. You act with conviction. You show up, not because you feel like it, but because you refuse to betray the version of you that you're becoming. That's real personal growth. And it starts the moment you decide to align your habits with your highest standards. Chapter 9. Seek feedback to understand your strengths and weaknesses. To truly grow, you must be willing to confront the reality of where you stand right now, and that means seeking feedback. It's easy to get comfortable in the bubble of our own thoughts, where we convince ourselves that we are doing well or that we know what we're doing. But the truth is, we can never see ourselves as clearly as others do. This is where feedback comes in. Feedback is the tool that breaks down your blind spots, revealing both your strengths and weaknesses. It gives you the chance to see yourself as you truly are, which is the first step toward meaningful growth. It's not easy to ask for feedback, especially when you know it might reveal things you're not proud of. But this is where the real work begins. If you only ever surround yourself with people who tell you what you want to hear, you will remain stagnant. Growth requires discomfort. It requires you to be open to hearing things that might sting a little. It's not about seeking validation, it's about seeking truth. You want to hear the things that will challenge you, not the things that will simply make you feel good. When you seek feedback, you must be intentional about it. Don't just ask people if you're doing well, ask them where you can improve. Don't focus solely on your successes, your weaknesses deserve attention too. They're the areas where you can make the biggest leaps. If you are only ever focused on what's working, you'll never identify the things that are holding you back. Feedback allows you to see the full picture and creates a path for you to follow toward improvement. One of the most powerful things feedback can do is highlight your blind spots. We all have them. They are the things we don't notice because we are too close to the situation, too involved in the process, or too attached to the outcome. But others, with their outside perspective, can point out the things that you've missed. This is where your growth lies, in the areas you didn't even know were there. By actively seeking feedback, you allow others to shed light on those hidden parts of yourself that need attention. You get to see yourself through fresh eyes, and in doing so you are given the opportunity to make adjustments before they become bigger problems. What's important is that you receive feedback with an open mind. Don't react defensively, even if it feels uncomfortable. Feedback is not a personal attack, it's a tool for your development. The moment you close yourself off to feedback, you close yourself off to growth. You may not agree with everything you hear, and that's okay, but listen with the intention to learn. Take the pieces that resonate with you and use them to fuel your improvement. Acknowledge your strengths as much as your weaknesses. Both are necessary for progress. One of the keys to using feedback effectively is to view it as a reflection of where you can level up. It's easy to take criticism to heart and let it deflate your confidence, but this isn't the purpose of feedback. The purpose is to offer a perspective that you wouldn't otherwise have. The feedback you receive is a roadmap, showing you areas that need your attention. It gives you the chance to focus your energy where it will have the most impact. When you begin to embrace feedback as a tool for growth, it shifts your mindset. Instead of viewing feedback as something negative, you begin to see it as a gift. It's no longer something to fear or avoid, it's something to actively seek out. And once you start seeking it, you'll begin to see how much faster you can progress. Your development accelerates when you are consistently making adjustments based on real, honest feedback. In addition to seeking feedback from others, it's equally important to cultivate self-reflection. The best feedback comes when you can pair external feedback with your own honest self-assessment. This doesn't mean being overly critical or harsh on yourself, but it does mean being real about where you're excelling and where you're falling short. Ask yourself the tough questions. Where did I perform well today? Where could I have done better? What's holding me back? By honestly evaluating your actions, you complement the external feedback you receive, creating a complete picture of where you stand and where you need to go. Feedback also comes from results. Your actions and outcomes speak volumes about where you are and where you need to improve. Are you hitting your goals? Are you progressing in the areas that matter most to you? If not, it's time to take a step back and evaluate why. Often the results you see in your life are the feedback you need to change your approach. If something's not working, it's an indication that something needs to shift. Use that feedback to pivot and adjust your strategy. It's not a failure, it's information. The ability to interpret and use your own results is just as important as receiving feedback from others. Being receptive to feedback requires emotional maturity. It means not letting your ego interfere with your growth. The truth is, we all have room to improve, and the more we resist feedback, the more we resist progress. It's easy to get stuck in the idea that we're already doing enough, or that we've already reached a certain level of competence. But the moment you stop seeking feedback is the moment you stop growing. When you stop asking, "What could I do better?" you stop improving. Growth is an ongoing process, and feedback is essential in helping you stay on the right path. When you seek feedback, be specific. General feedback, like "you're doing great" or "keep it up," might feel good, but it's not useful for growth. Instead, ask for specific insights that can guide your development. How can I improve my communication skills? Or what do you think I could have done differently in this situation? These specific questions allow the person giving feedback to provide actionable advice that you can apply right away. Another important aspect of seeking feedback is recognizing the value in diverse perspectives. Don't limit your feedback to just one person or one group. Seek feedback from people with different experiences, backgrounds and viewpoints. This broadens your understanding and helps you see areas for growth that you may have missed otherwise. The more diverse your feedback sources, the more well-rounded your self-awareness will become. Finally, remember that feedback is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process that should be integrated into your journey. Continuously seek feedback, continuously reflect on it, and continuously adjust. This cycle of feedback, reflection, and action propels you forward on your path to becoming your best self. Growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's an interactive process that thrives on the input of others and the honest evaluation of yourself. The more you commit to seeking feedback, the more you open yourself up to improvement, and the faster you will reach the person you are meant to become. Chapter 10. Take responsibility for your actions to unlock potential. Taking responsibility for your actions is one of the most powerful steps you can take to unlock your true potential. It's the cornerstone of personal growth because it shifts you from a position of helplessness to one of control. When you take responsibility for your actions, you stop making excuses. You stop blaming others, circumstances, or even your past. Instead, you recognize that you are the one who has the power to change. You are the one who decides how to react, how to learn, and how to move forward. Responsibility is about taking ownership of both your successes and your failures, recognizing that everything in your life is the result of your decisions, actions, and mindset. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that the world or other people are the reasons you're stuck. It's easy to look at your past and think that your current situation is the result of things outside your control. But the truth is, every decision you've made has led you to this moment. Yes, external factors do play a role in shaping your life, but how you respond to those factors is entirely up to you. When you take responsibility, you're acknowledging that your actions matter. You begin to realize that you hold the key to creating a different reality for yourself. When you fully embrace responsibility, you empower yourself to take charge of your future. No longer will you be a victim of circumstances. No longer will you let fear or doubt dictate your actions. Instead, you will step into a mindset where you are fully aware that the direction of your life is in your hands. It's no longer about waiting for the perfect opportunity or blaming others for missed chances. It's about recognizing that every moment is a choice, and with each choice you are shaping the future you want to create. Taking responsibility for your actions means owning up to your mistakes and learning from them. Too many people spend their lives avoiding accountability, either because they don't want to feel embarrassed or because they're afraid of the consequences. But the truth is, growth only happens when you face your mistakes head-on. If you can't accept responsibility for the things you've done wrong, you'll never learn from them. Failure is not something to be feared, it's an essential part of the learning process. Each mistake is an opportunity to grow, to understand yourself better, and to make better decisions moving forward. Responsibility also means stopping the cycle of procrastination. Often we delay taking action because we are too afraid of failure or too comfortable with the idea of things staying the same. But when you take full responsibility for your actions, you stop waiting for the right time to act. You understand that taking action is the only way to progress. You don't wait for circumstances to change. You don't wait for someone to give you permission. You take action even when it's uncomfortable. You do what needs to be done, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to move forward. One of the most powerful things about taking responsibility for your actions is that it forces you to let go of excuses. Excuses are the crutches that keep you stuck. They are the stories you tell yourself to justify why you're not where you want to be. When you make excuses, you surrender your power. You give away control. But when you take responsibility, you stop looking for reasons why you can't succeed and start focusing on how you can. You don't waste time blaming your past, your circumstances, or your environment. Instead, you focus on what you can do right now to change your situation. You make the decision to move forward, no matter what. This shift in mindset is liberating. When you take responsibility, you stop giving your power away to external factors. You stop letting fear, doubt, or other people dictate the course of your life. You become the author of your own story. And when you recognize that you have the power to change your life at any moment, you realize that there are no limits to what you can achieve. You begin to see obstacles as opportunities for growth, and you start taking the necessary steps to overcome them. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. It doesn't mean you shouldn't seek support or guidance. But it does mean that you are fully aware that your actions, and your actions alone, will determine the course of your life. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for others to save you. You stop waiting for someone to fix things for you. You take the necessary actions to create change for yourself. Whether that means seeking help, learning new skills, or making tough decisions, you take responsibility for the next step in your journey. Another important aspect of taking responsibility is accepting that life isn't always fair. It's easy to look at someone else's life and think that they have it easier or that they are more fortunate. But the reality is, everyone faces challenges, everyone has obstacles to overcome. Taking responsibility means acknowledging that life won't always hand you a perfect situation, but that doesn't matter. What matters is how you respond. It doesn't matter what happens to you. It matters what you do with what happens to you. When you accept this, you stop making excuses about what you don't have and start focusing on what you can create. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the creator of your own destiny. The power of taking responsibility is that it turns you into someone who is constantly seeking improvement. When you take responsibility for your actions, you stop looking for things outside yourself to blame. Instead, you start looking inward and asking, how can I do better? What can I learn from this? This mindset encourages constant growth. You don't wait for someone to tell you what to do. You actively seek out ways to improve and become the best version of yourself. Responsibility also means setting clear goals and taking deliberate actions to achieve them. It means breaking down your objectives into manageable steps and holding yourself accountable for each step along the way. Success doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you make the choice every day to take consistent, focused action. You take responsibility for your goals, and you make sure you do whatever it takes to achieve them. No one else can do it for you. No one else can create the life you want. It's up to you to make it happen. The more you take responsibility for your actions, the more your potential expands. You stop waiting for things to change and you start making things happen. You stop blaming the past and start creating the future. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. This mindset shift is the key to unlocking your potential. It is the difference between living a life of excuses and living a life of power. When you embrace responsibility, you step into your greatness and take control of the life you were always meant to lead. Chapter 11. Set clear goals to guide your progress each day. Setting clear goals is one of the most important foundations for making steady progress in life. Without clear goals, your efforts become scattered and your days can pass without any meaningful advancement toward your bigger vision. When you set specific and purposeful goals, you create a roadmap for your actions. Every step you take begins to have a purpose behind it. You are no longer moving through life aimlessly. You are now operating with intention, and that changes everything. Your mind needs direction, the same way a ship needs a compass. Without a clearly defined destination, you drift, you lose energy, you lose focus, you waste valuable time that you could have invested into something meaningful. The act of setting a clear goal forces you to define what you truly want. Many people never pause to ask themselves where they are headed or what they are truly working toward. They work hard, but not always on the right things. Setting goals filters your actions through the lens of your ultimate purpose. It forces you to prioritize and make decisions that align with where you want to go. Without goals, it's easy to say yes to distractions, to waste energy on things that don't move you forward. But when you have a goal in mind, it becomes much easier to say no to what doesn't matter. Your clarity becomes your shield against the noise of the world. Clear goals also fuel motivation. When you wake up each morning knowing exactly what you are working toward, it gives you a reason to push yourself. It gives you a reason to stay disciplined, even when motivation fades. Progress becomes more tangible when you know what you're aiming for. Every small step feels like a victory, because you know it's leading somewhere. You stop living for the weekend. You stop living for distractions. You start living for the satisfaction of moving closer and closer to your personal vision of success. Each day carries more weight because you have decided that your time and your energy are valuable. Having clear goals gives you a way to measure your progress. Without clear targets, it's impossible to know whether you are growing. It's impossible to know whether your habits and efforts are paying off. Specific goals allow you to check in with yourself regularly and see how far you've come. If you find that you're not moving forward, you can course correct before too much time is wasted. You can adjust your approach, refine your strategies, and keep yourself honest about what is working and what isn't. Tracking progress in this way builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence in turn fuels even greater action. Setting goals also builds self-trust. Every time you make a commitment to yourself and follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. You begin to see yourself as someone who does what they say they are going to do. This is critical because belief in yourself is the foundation of lasting success. Without self-trust, you will hesitate. You will doubt your ability to achieve difficult things. But with each goal you set and accomplish, you are sending a powerful message to your subconscious mind. You are someone who finishes what you start. You are someone who can be counted on. You are someone who is in control of their own destiny. When you set goals, it's important to be specific. Vague goals like get better or be happier are not enough. They don't give your mind a clear target to aim for. Instead, define your goals in ways that are concrete and measurable. If you want to improve your health, set a goal to exercise 4 times a week. If you want to advance your career, set a goal to complete a professional certification by a certain date. Specificity brings focus. It sharpens your actions and makes it much easier to recognize when you are making progress or when you are falling behind. Another important part of setting effective goals is breaking them down into daily action steps. Big goals can feel overwhelming if you only look at the final destination. But when you break them down into small, manageable tasks, they become much more achievable. Every day you have something you can do that brings you closer to your dream. These daily actions build discipline. They build momentum. They transform seemingly impossible goals into a series of small victories that over time create extraordinary results. Setting goals also gives you something to anchor your emotions to. Life is unpredictable. You will face obstacles. You will encounter setbacks. But when you have clear goals, you have something to hold on to when things get tough. You can remind yourself why you started. You can reconnect to the vision that made you take action in the first place. This connection to your deeper purpose will help you stay committed even when the path gets hard. It will help you push through fear, doubt, and discomfort. Clarity of goals also impacts the quality of the decisions you make. Every choice you face becomes simpler when you have a clear objective in mind. You can ask yourself, does this decision move me closer to my goal or further away from it? This question acts as a filter, helping you stay aligned with your true priorities. It removes unnecessary distractions and makes it easier to stay consistent. The discipline to make small decisions every day that are aligned with your goals compounds into massive growth over time. As you work toward your goals, it's important to periodically review and adjust them. Growth is a dynamic process. As you evolve, your goals may need to evolve as well. What was once important may become less so as your awareness deepens. Regular reflection ensures that you remain connected to goals that truly resonate with the person you are becoming. It prevents you from climbing a ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. Stay flexible. Stay honest. Make sure that your goals remain true to who you are and what you genuinely desire. It's also important to celebrate your progress. Every milestone, no matter how small, deserves recognition. Celebrating progress reinforces positive behavior. It gives you the emotional fuel to keep pushing forward. When you acknowledge your own growth, you deepen your motivation to continue. You stop seeing success as a distant, abstract idea and start feeling it as something you are living every day. Your goals should challenge you. They should stretch you beyond what you think is comfortable. Growth never happens inside your comfort zone. By setting goals that require you to expand your skills, your mindset, and your discipline, you accelerate your personal evolution. You begin to realize that you are capable of far more than you once believed. Each time you reach a goal that once seemed out of reach, you build the confidence to aim even higher. Setting clear goals is not just about achieving external success. It's about who you become in the process. It's about developing the discipline, the focus, and the resilience required to bring a vision into reality. It's about proving to yourself that you can live life on your terms, not by accident but by design. Every goal you set and achieve is a step toward becoming the person you are meant to be. Goals are not just about what you get, they are about what you build within yourself. When you start setting clear goals and living intentionally each day, life stops feeling random. You no longer wake up wondering what you should do or where you should go. You know what matters. You know what you are working toward. You know that every action, no matter how small, is moving you closer to your best life. And that clarity transforms everything. It turns ordinary days into stepping stones toward extraordinary achievements. It turns struggle into purpose. It turns dreams into reality. Chapter 12. Cultivate discipline by sticking to your daily commitments. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build day after day by consistently sticking to your commitments, no matter how you feel in the moment. Discipline is the bridge between what you want and what you achieve. Without it, even the best intentions collapse under the weight of distractions, excuses, and emotional fluctuations. When you decide to cultivate discipline by honoring your daily commitments, you are making a powerful statement to yourself that your word matters, that your actions are more important than your moods, and that your future is worth the effort it demands. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you are reinforcing the identity of someone who can be trusted, someone who honors promises not just to others but to themselves. It is easy to make commitments when you are feeling motivated and inspired, but the real test of your character is whether you follow through when the excitement fades, when the work feels tedious, and when no one else is watching. It is in these moments that discipline is either strengthened or weakened. Every decision matters, every small victory counts. The key to building lasting discipline is to start with manageable daily commitments. Set goals that stretch you but do not overwhelm you. It is not about doing everything at once. It is about building the habit of follow through one step at a time. If you commit to waking up early, honor it. If you commit to working out, show up even when you don't feel like it. If you commit to learning something new, carve out the time and do it. These small acts of discipline accumulate, and over time they reshape the way you see yourself and the way you interact with the world. Discipline requires you to push against resistance. Your mind will come up with endless reasons why you can skip today's commitment, why it's okay to take it easy just this once. But the path to mastery is paved by those who choose consistency over comfort. Growth happens when you move through resistance, not around it. Each time you complete a commitment, when it would have been easier to give up, you become a little stronger, a little more resilient, a little more unstoppable. One of the most important aspects of discipline is the ability to act independently of how you feel. Your emotions will fluctuate from day to day, sometimes from hour to hour, but discipline is about training yourself to act based on your principles, not your feelings. When you rely on emotions to guide your actions, your progress becomes erratic and unpredictable. But when you rely on your commitments, you create stability. You remove the guesswork from your day. You already know what you have to do. Your only job is to show up and do it. To cultivate discipline, you must develop a deep respect for your own time. When you treat your time casually, you treat your life casually. Every minute you waste is a minute you can never get back. Discipline teaches you to value your time as one of your most precious resources. It teaches you to use each day intentionally, to allocate your energy toward actions that align with your bigger vision. It transforms your relationship with time from passive consumption to active creation. Another essential element of discipline is accountability. Hold yourself responsible for your actions. Track your progress. Notice when you fall short, but do not allow setbacks to define you. Use them as feedback. Identify what triggered the lapse in discipline and learn from it. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being relentlessly committed to improvement. When you stumble, get back up quickly. Refocus, recommit. Keep moving forward with even greater determination. A disciplined life is a life of freedom. It may seem paradoxical, but the more disciplined you are, the more freedom you create for yourself. Discipline liberates you from the control of your impulses and distractions. It gives you the ability to make choices that align with your long-term goals rather than being a slave to short-term cravings. It gives you the strength to say no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you. True freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It is the ability to choose your responsibilities wisely and to honor them consistently. One of the most powerful ways to maintain discipline is to connect deeply to your reasons for your commitments. When you have a strong enough why, the how becomes easier. Remind yourself daily why you started, why it matters, and what is at stake. Connect emotionally to the future you are building. Visualize the person you are becoming through your discipline. Let that vision pull you through the moments of doubt, boredom, and fatigue. Your discipline is not just about what you do each day, it is about who you are choosing to become. Creating systems can also support your discipline. Systems remove the need for constant decision-making. They automate good behavior. For example, if you commit to exercising daily, schedule your workouts at the same time each day. Make it non-negotiable. If you commit to learning, have a set time and place for studying. Discipline thrives in environments that are structured to support success. Design your surroundings, your routines, and your habits to make discipline the path of least resistance. Your mindset toward discipline also matters. Do not view discipline as punishment or deprivation. See it for what it truly is, an act of self-respect and self-love. You are not being hard on yourself by sticking to your commitments. You are honoring your highest potential. You are choosing to invest in yourself at the deepest level. You are refusing to settle for a life of regret and mediocrity. Discipline is a gift you give yourself, and its rewards are profound. As you build discipline, you will notice that your confidence grows. Confidence is not built through talk or wishful thinking. It is built through action, through the repeated experience of setting a goal and achieving it. With each commitment you honor, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You silence the doubts and fears that once held you back. You realize that you do not need to wait for ideal conditions or perfect motivation. You have the power to act now, to do what needs to be done, regardless of the circumstances. Daily discipline creates unstoppable momentum. Each disciplined action compounds over time, leading to exponential growth. What once felt difficult becomes natural. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. You transform your habits, your mindset, and your results. You realize that success is not a mystery. It is a predictable outcome of disciplined living. It is available to anyone willing to pay the daily price of consistency, effort, and commitment. When you cultivate discipline by sticking to your daily commitments, you are taking control of your life at the most fundamental level. You are no longer drifting, you are steering. You are no longer reacting, you are creating. You are building a future that is worthy of your highest aspirations. The process is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Each disciplined day brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. Each disciplined choice shapes you into the person you were destined to become. Through discipline you unlock the doors to a life of meaning, achievement, and fulfillment. Through discipline you become unstoppable.
Chapter 13. Push past fear to unlock new levels of growth. Fear is one of the greatest barriers between you and the life you are capable of creating. It disguises itself in many forms: hesitation, self-doubt, procrastination, excuses. But at its core, fear is simply the mind's attempt to protect you from discomfort and uncertainty. The problem is that growth and greatness live in the very places fear tells you to avoid. Every breakthrough you are seeking lies on the other side of the fears you have not yet faced. Until you confront fear directly, you will always find yourself circling the same limits,
trapped in cycles of frustration and unrealized potential. Pushing past fear is not about eliminating it. Fear is a natural response to stepping into the unknown. It is not a signal to retreat. It is a sign that you are moving towards something meaningful. The presence of fear often indicates that you are close to a powerful breakthrough. Instead of resisting fear, you must learn to move forward with it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act even when fear is present. Each time you push through fear, you expand your capacity for action, and with it your capacity for growth. To grow at the deepest levels, you must make fear your ally, not your enemy. Listen to what it is telling you, not the lies about your limitations, but the truths about where your next stage of evolution lies. Fear often points directly at the opportunities that matter most. If an action scares you because it challenges your identity, your comfort zone, or your current level of competence, it is probably the action you need to take. Growth demands that you consistently seek out these edges and lean into them. Facing fear requires a shift in how you interpret discomfort. Most people instinctively avoid anything that causes anxiety, tension, or vulnerability. But if you want to unlock new levels of growth, you must train yourself to associate discomfort with progress, not danger. Discomfort is the raw material of transformation. It is the proof that you are doing the hard internal work necessary to evolve. When you feel fear rising, take it as a signal to lean in, not pull back. Choose to act while you are still afraid. Action creates momentum, and momentum weakens fear's grip. One powerful strategy for moving through fear is to break big challenges into smaller, more manageable steps. Fear often exaggerates the size of the threat because it focuses on the entire journey at once. By narrowing your focus to the next step, you remove much of fear's power. Take the first small action, no matter how insignificant it may seem. Make the call, send the message, sign up for the class, book the appointment. The act of starting is often the hardest part, but once you are in motion, fear begins to lose its influence. Another key to pushing past fear is changing the internal conversation you have with yourself. Fear thrives on negative self-talk, the mental loops that say you are not good enough, that you will fail, that you will be judged, that you are not ready. You must learn to interrupt these patterns and replace them with affirmations of your capability and resilience. Speak to yourself with strength, clarity, and encouragement. Remind yourself of past victories. Focus on your ability to adapt and learn, rather than the possibility of failure. Exposure is another essential tool for dismantling fear. The more you face the things that scare you, the more familiar they become, and the less power they have over you. What once felt overwhelming becomes ordinary through repeated exposure. Seek out small challenges that stretch you just beyond your current comfort zone. Each successful encounter builds psychological calluses, strengthening your ability to face bigger fears in the future. Growth is a process of progressive desensitization to discomfort. Visualization can also help you push through fear. Spend time mentally rehearsing the actions you need to take and the outcomes you want to create. See yourself succeeding, moving through challenges with confidence, handling setbacks with grace. Visualization primes your mind to expect positive results, which makes it easier to take bold action when the time comes. Your brain cannot always distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones, so use this to your advantage. Program yourself to move through fear with calm and determination. It is important to recognize that failure is not the enemy. It is part of the process. Fear often paralyzes people because they believe that failing would be catastrophic, that it would define them as inadequate or unworthy. But failure is simply feedback. It is information about what works and what doesn't. Every successful person has a trail of failures behind them, not because they were fearless, but because they acted in spite of fear and were willing to learn from every outcome. When you stop fearing failure, you free yourself to take the risks necessary for extraordinary growth. Accountability can also help you face your fears. Share your goals and challenges with someone you trust, someone who will encourage you but also hold you to your commitments. Knowing that someone else is watching can give you an extra layer of motivation to push through fear rather than give in to it. Sometimes when your own courage falters, the expectations you have set with others can help you find the strength to move forward anyway. Celebrate every victory over fear, no matter how small. Each time you act with courage, acknowledge it. Recognize that you are building a new pattern, rewiring your brain for boldness rather than avoidance. The more you celebrate your courageous actions, the more you reinforce the identity of someone who acts in the face of fear. Identity drives behavior, and over time you will find that what once terrified you now energizes you. Ultimately, pushing past fear is an act of reclaiming your power. It is a declaration that you refuse to be ruled by the primitive parts of your brain that seek only safety and predictability. It is a choice to live fully, to pursue your potential without apology or hesitation. Fear will always whisper in the background, but it does not have to dictate your actions. You get to decide what you do with fear. You can bow to it, or you can use it as fuel. You can shrink, or you can expand. You can stay stuck, or you can move forward boldly. Growth demands that you choose expansion over contraction again and again. It demands that you see fear not as a warning to retreat, but as a signpost pointing toward your greatest opportunities. Each time you act in spite of fear, you grow stronger. Each time you lean into discomfort, you expand your world. Each time you refuse to let fear dictate your decisions, you move closer to the life you are capable of living. Fear will always be part of the journey, but it does not have to control the destination. Choose to push past it. Choose to rise. Choose to unlock new levels of growth. Chapter 14. Learn from failure and turn it into success. Failure is often misunderstood. Too many people see it as a final verdict rather than a necessary stage in the process of becoming who they are meant to be. But if you look closer, failure is one of the most powerful teachers you will ever encounter. It strips away illusions, exposes weaknesses, and reveals the gaps between where you are and where you want to be. If you are willing to humble yourself and study your failures instead of running from them, you can transform every mistake, every misstep, and every disappointment into a stepping stone toward greater success. Learning from failure starts with changing your attitude toward it. You must stop seeing failure as proof that you are incapable or unlucky, and start seeing it as evidence that you are pushing your limits. Only those who dare to move beyond the familiar will ever experience failure, and only those who experience failure will ever taste real success. Staying safe inside your comfort zone may protect you from failing in the short term, but it will guarantee regret in the long term. If you want to grow, you must embrace failure as an essential part of the journey. After experiencing failure, resist the temptation to blame others, make excuses, or deny what happened. Take full ownership of the outcome, even if circumstances were difficult or other people contributed to the situation. When you own your failures without defensiveness, you put yourself in a position of power. You acknowledge that while you cannot control everything, you can always control your response, your effort, and your willingness to improve. Taking responsibility is the gateway to learning, and learning is the gateway to success. Reflection is critical after a failure. Instead of rushing to move past the pain or pretending it didn't matter, take time to review what happened with brutal honesty and compassionate curiosity. Ask yourself questions that get to the heart of the matter. What decisions did you make that led to this outcome? What assumptions did you have that proved wrong? Where were you unprepared? What warning signs did you ignore? What skills or habits do you need to develop to avoid repeating this mistake? The more detailed and specific your reflection, the more valuable the lessons you can extract. Failure also teaches you about your inner world. It reveals your true motivations, your resilience under pressure, your ability to adapt when plans fall apart. It shows you how much you really want the goals you claim to pursue. Some failures will ignite a deeper determination in you. Others will expose pursuits that were never truly aligned with your values. Pay close attention to what failure stirs up inside you. The emotional reactions you experience, whether it's anger, shame, disappointment, or renewed focus, contain clues about what matters most to you and where you need to grow. One of the greatest gifts of failure is that it forces you to innovate. When your original plan collapses, you are challenged to find new approaches, question old assumptions, and develop creative solutions. Many of the world's greatest breakthroughs have come not from success, but from repeated failures that forced individuals and teams to think differently. When you hit a wall, don't just try harder at what already isn't working. Step back, reassess, experiment. Treat every failure as data, information about what does not work, which brings you one step closer to discovering what does. Persistence in the face of failure builds inner strength like nothing else. Every time you get back up after falling, you reinforce a powerful identity, the identity of someone who does not quit. Over time, this identity becomes a foundation you can rely on, no matter what challenges you face. Success is often less about avoiding failure and more about developing the resilience to keep moving forward despite it. Those who succeed in the long run are not the ones who make the fewest mistakes. They are the ones who refuse to let mistakes define them or deter them. To truly turn failure into success, you must integrate the lessons you have learned into your future actions. Awareness alone is not enough. It is not enough to know what went wrong. You must change your strategies, upgrade your skills, strengthen your habits, and sharpen your focus. Each failure gives you a blueprint for becoming better, but only if you act on the insights you gain. Growth is not automatic. It is the result of deliberate effort to adjust, adapt, and evolve based on the feedback life gives you. Another important aspect of learning from failure is separating your self-worth from the outcomes you achieve. You are not your failures. Your value as a person is not determined by your wins and losses. When you internalize this truth, you free yourself to take bold risks, to stretch beyond your current abilities, to venture into uncharted territory without the crippling fear of making mistakes. You realize that failure is something that happens, not something that defines you. With this freedom comes the courage to dream bigger and work harder. Surrounding yourself with people who have a healthy attitude toward failure can also make a tremendous difference. Seek out mentors, friends, and colleagues who have failed and succeeded, who understand that setbacks are part of the path. Their stories and encouragement can provide perspective when you are tempted to give up. Learn from their experiences. Let their resilience inspire you to build your own. Choose relationships that remind you that failure is not the end of the road, but a necessary mile marker on the journey to greatness. Finally, approach failure with gratitude. This may seem counterintuitive, especially when the sting of disappointment is fresh. But if you can view failure as a teacher rather than a tormentor, you will find reasons to be grateful for every hard lesson it brings. Gratitude softens the sharp edges of failure and opens your heart to growth. It reminds you that every experience, even the painful ones, contributes to your development. When you are grateful for failure, you no longer fear it. You welcome it as part of the price you pay for becoming the strongest, wisest, and most capable version of yourself. The path to success is paved with the lessons you extract from your failures. Every stumble, every setback, every wrong turn holds the seeds of future victories, but only if you are willing to dig deep, reflect honestly, and adapt courageously. Failure is not the enemy. It is an invitation to rise higher, to dig deeper, to become more. If you answer that invitation with humility, resilience, and relentless commitment to growth, you will find that failure does not break you. It shapes you. And through that shaping process, you will build a success far greater than anything you could have achieved by playing it safe.
Chapter 15. Surround yourself with people who support your growth. The people you choose to surround yourself with have a profound influence on the direction of your life. Every conversation, every interaction, every piece of advice you hear shapes your mindset in ways you might not always notice immediately. Over time, the voices you listen to either elevate your potential or quietly erode it. That's why being intentional about who you allow into your inner circle is not a casual decision. It's one of the most powerful forms of self-respect and personal responsibility you can practice. If you are serious about growing, you must build an environment that fuels your evolution instead of stalling it. The right people will not merely cheer for you when you win. They will challenge you to stretch yourself beyond what feels comfortable. They will hold you accountable to your highest standards, even when you feel tempted to settle. They will celebrate your victories, but will not let you get lazy or arrogant. They will encourage your dreams while reminding you of the hard work and resilience needed to achieve them. They will see the greatness in you, even when you temporarily forget it yourself. And most importantly, they will inspire you by how they live their own lives, with integrity, ambition, and purpose. When you are around people who are committed to their own growth, it becomes easier to stay committed to yours. Growth becomes the normal expectation rather than an unusual exception. In the presence of strong-minded, disciplined and purpose-driven individuals, excuses lose their power. Mediocrity feels uncomfortable. You naturally rise to the level of the standards that surround you. You begin to think bigger, act bolder, and demand more from yourself simply because you see others doing the same. Inspiration becomes contagious when it's embedded in your environment. But surrounding yourself with supportive people doesn't happen automatically. You must seek them out. You must be willing to leave behind relationships that drain your energy, lower your standards, or discourage your growth. Sometimes, this process feels lonely. Sometimes, you will need to walk alone for a season before you find the right community. That loneliness is not a punishment. It's preparation. It's the clearing out of what no longer serves you to make space for what will elevate you. Do not fear it. Embrace it as part of the process. Look for people who embody the qualities you admire, not just those who say the things you want to hear. Seek out individuals who are disciplined when no one is watching, who keep learning when they have every reason to feel satisfied, who push through discomfort without complaining. Watch how they live, how they respond to setbacks, how they treat others. Words are easy, consistency is rare. Trust what you observe over what you are told. When you find people who genuinely support your growth, nurture those relationships with care and intentionality. Show up for them,
as much as they show up for you. Encourage their dreams just as passionately as they encourage yours. Growth-minded relationships are built on mutual respect, not one-sided dependence. You are not looking for people to carry you. You are looking for people to walk beside you, strong, focused, and determined. At the same time, recognize that not everyone in your life will understand your commitment to growth. Some people will feel threatened by your evolution because it forces them to confront their own stagnation. Some will mock your ambition because it reminds them of the dreams they abandoned. Some will unconsciously sabotage your efforts, urging you to slow down, take it easy, or just be happy with what you have. Learn to recognize these patterns without resentment. Not everyone is meant to join you on every stage of your journey. Love them from a distance if you must, but do not let their fears or limitations define your path. Building a supportive circle also requires you to be discerning about the energy you absorb daily. It's not just the people you know personally, it's also the voices you consume through books, podcasts, videos, and social media. Every piece of content you engage with either sharpens your focus or scatters it. Every message you internalize either fuels your courage or feeds your doubts. Curate your mental diet with the same care you would use to nourish your body. Fill your mind with wisdom, discipline, and inspiration, so that even when no one else is around, you are surrounded by forces that strengthen you. Another critical part of surrounding yourself with the right people is becoming the right person yourself. Growth-minded individuals are drawn to those who share their values. If you want to attract people who are disciplined, resilient, and forward-focused, you must embody those qualities consistently. Be the type of person others can count on. Be someone who uplifts others without enabling their excuses. Be willing to have hard conversations when needed. Be quick to celebrate others' wins without envy. The energy you give out will determine the energy you attract. When you commit to surrounding yourself with people who support your growth, you create a momentum that is difficult to stop. Challenges feel less overwhelming when you have a community that believes in your strength. Setbacks become opportunities for deeper connection and learning rather than reasons to isolate yourself. Success becomes sweeter when it's shared with those who understand the sacrifices you made to achieve it. Most importantly, you stop feeling like you are fighting an invisible battle alone. You realize that greatness is not built in isolation. It is reinforced by the steady presence of people who refuse to let you shrink. Building the right circle requires patience. It requires discernment. It requires courage to let go of familiar relationships that no longer align with your future. But it is worth every ounce of effort. The people around you will either fuel your dreams or drain them. They will either pull you upward or hold you back. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with those who want to see you win, not just because it benefits them, but because they genuinely believe in your potential. Surround yourself with those who remind you of your highest self, even when you feel like giving up. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, celebrate your progress, and never let you settle for less than you are capable of becoming. Your environment matters. Your circle matters. Protect it fiercely. Cultivate it carefully. Honor it by continuing to grow into the person you were meant to be. Growth is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become, and who you become is deeply influenced by who walks beside you on the journey. Choose your companions with the same seriousness you bring to choosing your dreams, because the two are inseparable. Chapter 16. Manage your time effectively to maximize daily results. Time is the most valuable resource you have, and how you use it will determine the quality of the life you build. Every day offers a limited window of opportunity, and once a moment passes, it can never be reclaimed. The way you manage your time reflects the seriousness with which you approach your dreams. If you treat each day casually, you forfeit the chance to make meaningful progress. But if you learn to manage your hours with discipline and purpose, you can achieve more in a single year than others do in a decade. Effective time management starts with clarity. You must know exactly what matters most to you. Without clear priorities, it is easy to spend hours reacting to distractions and handling other people's emergencies while your own goals get neglected. Begin each day by identifying your top priorities. What must get done today to move you closer to your vision? What tasks, if completed consistently, will create the future you desire? If you don't define these answers clearly, your days will be filled with busyness but not progress. Once your priorities are set, protect your time ruthlessly. Treat your important tasks as non-negotiable appointments with your future. Don't allow interruptions to steal your focus. Learn to say no to requests that do not align with your highest goals. This does not make you selfish, it makes you responsible. Every yes you give to something unimportant is a no to something vital. Be conscious of the trade-offs you are making with every decision. Break your big goals into manageable daily actions. Huge objectives often feel overwhelming, but consistent small steps make them achievable. Structure your days around these steps. Block out specific periods of time dedicated to your most critical work and stick to those blocks with discipline. During these periods, eliminate all distractions, turn off notifications. Put your phone out of reach. Create an environment that supports deep, focused work. It's also essential to understand that not every hour is created equal. Pay attention to your natural energy rhythms. Some parts of the day you may feel more alert, creative and motivated. Other times you might feel sluggish or distracted. Schedule your most demanding work during your peak hours whenever possible. Use your lower energy times for simpler, less intensive tasks. By aligning your activities with your energy patterns, you maximize both the quantity and quality of your results. One of the biggest time wasters is decision fatigue. If you spend too much mental energy deciding what to do next, you lose momentum. Plan your days in advance. Before you end each day, take a few minutes to write down your top 3 priorities for tomorrow. When you wake up, you'll already know what you need to tackle. This simple habit can dramatically boost your productivity over time. Another key to managing your time effectively is building strong routines. Habits automate discipline. When you turn important tasks into daily rituals, you conserve mental energy and make consistent progress without relying solely on motivation. Morning routines, evening reviews, dedicated work sprints, these structures anchor your days and make success inevitable. Managing your time well also requires you to be realistic. Don't overcommit. Don't pretend you can cram 16 hours of work into an 8-hour window without consequences. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Focus on doing fewer things, but doing them better. Quality over quantity will always win in the long term. Remember to include time for rest and renewal. Burnout destroys more dreams than lack of talent ever could. High performance is not about working endlessly. It's about working wisely. Short breaks, movement, proper nutrition, and sufficient sleep are not luxuries. They are requirements if you want to sustain long-term productivity. Build these practices into your schedule just as intentionally as you schedule your work. Track your time for a few days and analyze where it actually goes. You might be surprised how much of it slips away unnoticed. Mindless scrolling, unnecessary meetings, procrastination disguised as preparation. These habits eat away at your precious hours. Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you see where you are losing time, you can take deliberate action to reclaim it. Learn to distinguish between urgent tasks and important ones. Urgent things demand immediate attention, but important things create long-term value. If you spend all your time putting out fires, you'll stay busy but never move forward. Make sure you prioritize tasks that build your future rather than simply reacting to the present. One powerful strategy is time blocking. Dedicate specific chunks of your day to focused work, communication, learning, and reflection. Treat these blocks like appointments you cannot cancel. Protect them fiercely. During focus blocks, immerse yourself fully in the task at hand. Don't switch between tasks. Multitasking is a myth that fractures your attention and diminishes your results. Single tasking with intensity yields far better outcomes. Also, practice ending your day with a brief review. What did you accomplish? What could you improve tomorrow? Reflection strengthens your ability to manage time wisely. It turns every day into a learning experience. Tiny adjustments, made consistently, lead to massive improvements over time. Overcoming procrastination is another essential part of mastering time. Understand that waiting for perfect conditions is a lie. Start before you feel ready. Action creates momentum, and momentum fuels motivation. Break large tasks into smaller starting points and just begin. Once you are in motion, continuing becomes much easier. Respecting your time means respecting yourself. It sends a powerful message to your subconscious mind. Your goals matter. Your dreams deserve your full attention. You are not here to waste your life in distractions and regrets. You are here to build, to grow, and to leave a legacy that matters. Managing your time effectively is not about squeezing more activities into your schedule. It's about choosing the right activities and giving them your full presence and energy. It's about eliminating the unnecessary so you can give your best to what truly counts. It's about living intentionally rather than drifting aimlessly. Every minute you invest in managing your time better compounds into greater achievements. Small improvements today lead to extraordinary results over months and years. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start with 1 hour of deep focus. Start with one task completed with full effort. Start with 1 day of honoring your priorities instead of reacting to distractions. Growth happens one disciplined day at a time. The future you want is built in the time you have right now. Protect it, use it wisely, honor it with action. Your dreams are waiting for you to become the person who treats every moment as an opportunity to move closer, stronger, and faster toward them. Time is not something you manage once and forget. It is a lifelong practice of paying attention, adjusting, and improving. Master it, and you master your destiny.
Chapter 17. Reflect regularly to understand and improve your path. Progress without reflection is like sailing without a compass. You might be moving, but you won't know if you are heading in the right direction. Regular reflection acts as a guide that keeps you aligned with your purpose, your goals, and your highest potential. Without stepping back to assess your actions, habits, and decisions, it's easy to drift off course without even realizing it. Growth isn't just about doing more, it's about doing better, and doing better starts with understanding where you are and why you are there. Reflection demands honesty. It requires you to confront your wins and your mistakes, without ego, without defensiveness, without excuses. When you reflect regularly, you gather the lessons that experience is trying to teach you. You see patterns that were previously invisible. You notice behaviors that help you move forward, and habits that quietly sabotage your progress.
Without this awareness, improvement remains random and inconsistent. With it, you can make deliberate adjustments that accelerate your development. Reflection doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as asking yourself a few powerful questions each day. What went well today? What challenges did I face? How did I respond to them? What can I learn from those moments? What would I do differently next time? These questions sharpen your awareness. They force you to stay engaged with your journey instead of sleepwalking through it. When you regularly evaluate your days, your decisions, and your mindset, you become an active participant in your own growth rather than a passive observer. The most successful people aren't perfect. They are learners. They stumble and make mistakes just like everyone else. The difference is they extract lessons from every experience and use those lessons to get better. They don't waste failure by pretending it didn't happen or blaming others. They own it. They study it. They improve because of it. Reflection transforms every experience, good or bad, into a stepping stone for greater success. Regular reflection also deepens your self-awareness. It shows you your true motivations, your fears, your blind spots, and your strengths. Self-awareness is a superpower because it allows you to work with yourself rather than against yourself. When you understand why you procrastinate, why you react emotionally, why you avoid certain challenges, you can begin to change those patterns consciously. Without reflection, these tendencies operate in the shadows, controlling your behavior without your permission. It's important to create a consistent time and space for reflection. Don't leave it to chance. Set aside a few minutes each evening to review your day. Take time at the end of each week to assess your progress toward your goals. Use a journal to write down your thoughts, insights, and plans. Writing forces clarity. It makes vague feelings concrete and actionable. Over time, your journal becomes a record of your growth, a tangible proof that you are evolving, learning, and moving forward. Deep reflection isn't just about what happened, it's about why it happened. Go beneath the surface. If you crushed a goal, don't just celebrate. Analyze what specifically led to your success. Was it better preparation? Was it improved focus? Was it a change in your habits? Likewise, if you fell short, don't just shrug it off. Investigate the real causes. Was it poor planning? Was it emotional resistance? Was it a lack of clarity? Reflection turns vague outcomes into clear lessons. You must also be willing to reflect on your goals themselves. Sometimes you pursue objectives that no longer align with who you are becoming. Regular reflection helps you notice when it's time to adjust your direction. It keeps you flexible without being fickle. Being committed to growth doesn't mean stubbornly clinging to outdated goals. It means being committed to the deeper mission behind those goals, your growth, your contribution, your fulfillment, and adjusting your strategies as needed. Reflection gives you perspective. In the heat of daily life, it's easy to get caught up in minor frustrations and lose sight of the bigger picture. Stepping back allows you to see how far you've come. It reminds you that temporary setbacks are just that, temporary. It helps you maintain patience and persistence when progress feels slow. It anchors you in a longer-term view, which is essential for sustaining motivation through inevitable challenges. You also sharpen your decision-making skills through reflection. By analyzing past choices and their outcomes, you train your mind to make better decisions in the future. You start to notice patterns, the conditions under which you make great choices, and the situations where you are prone to mistakes. This meta-awareness enhances your ability to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Better decisions, compounded over time, create extraordinary results. Reflection strengthens your emotional resilience. It allows you to process disappointments constructively instead of suppressing them. It helps you find meaning even in hardship, turning adversity into fuel for greater growth. When you take time to understand your emotions rather than being ruled by them, you cultivate a deeper inner strength that cannot be shaken easily by external circumstances. It's important not to turn reflection into self-judgment. The goal isn't to criticize yourself relentlessly. The goal is to observe yourself objectively, with a mindset of curiosity and compassion. You are not reflecting to find reasons to beat yourself up. You are reflecting to find opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more effective. Approach the process with kindness and commitment to improvement. Over time, regular reflection builds confidence. Real confidence isn't based on pretending you have everything figured out. It's based on knowing that whatever challenges come your way, you have the ability to learn, adapt, and overcome them. Reflection reinforces this belief. It shows you again and again that you are capable of growth, that you can turn mistakes into wisdom, that you can turn setbacks into comebacks, that you are in control of your journey even when circumstances are tough. The discipline of regular reflection separates those who drift through life from those who build lives of meaning and excellence. It turns experience into advantage. It transforms failure into fuel. It sharpens your focus, strengthens your discipline, and deepens your sense of purpose. It's not glamorous. It's not something others will applaud you for, but it's one of the most powerful practices you can adopt if you are serious about living a life of growth, achievement, and fulfillment. The time you invest in reflection compounds just like the time you invest in action. Together, they form an unstoppable cycle of learning, adapting, and advancing. Reflect consistently, and you will evolve consistently. Your future is shaped not just by what you do, but also by what you learn from what you do. Reflection is the bridge between action and improvement. Cross that bridge daily, and no obstacle will be able to hold you back for long.
Chapter 18. Take calculated risks to push your limits further. Growth doesn't happen inside comfort zones. It happens when you step beyond what feels safe, familiar, and easy. Taking calculated risks is one of the most powerful ways to push your limits and discover what you are truly capable of. It's not about being reckless or impulsive. It's about making thoughtful decisions that challenge you to expand your abilities, strengthen your courage, and open doors to new possibilities that would have remained closed if you stayed where it was comfortable. Calculated risk-taking begins with understanding that safety often carries a hidden cost. The cost of staying safe is usually stagnation. You avoid potential failure, but you also avoid potential greatness. You dodge discomfort, but you also dodge transformation. Every breakthrough you seek requires you to accept a certain level of uncertainty. You can plan, you can prepare, but you cannot eliminate all risk if you want to achieve anything truly meaningful. Embracing this truth frees you to move forward with greater boldness. Taking a calculated risk means doing your homework. It means weighing the potential rewards against the potential setbacks. It means being honest about the consequences and deciding that the growth you might gain is worth facing the fear you will certainly feel. It's not blind jumping. It's informed action. It's stepping forward with your eyes open, understanding the terrain as best you can, while accepting that some unknowns will always remain. When you start viewing risk through the lens of growth rather than danger, everything changes. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What could I become if I succeed?" That shift in perspective is crucial. It turns fear from a wall into a doorway. It transforms hesitation into motivation. Fear doesn't vanish when you take risks,
but it becomes fuel instead of a barrier. You feel the fear, recognize it as a sign that you are about to stretch yourself, and move forward anyway. The most meaningful progress in life often comes from moments of boldness. The decision to speak up when it's easier to stay silent, the choice to invest in yourself when others are content to coast, the move to leave a comfortable situation in pursuit of something greater. These are the defining moments that separate those who live fully from those who merely exist. Each time you take a calculated risk, you strengthen the muscles of courage, resilience, and adaptability, qualities that will serve you in every area of life. Calculated risks teach you to trust yourself. They build self-reliance because you realize you don't need guarantees to act. You don't need every variable to be under control. You only need the willingness to take responsibility for your choices and the flexibility to adjust if things don't go as planned. This trust in yourself is priceless. It gives you a quiet inner confidence that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. It gives you the freedom to pursue big goals without being paralyzed by fear of failure. One powerful strategy is to start taking small calculated risks consistently. You don't have to leap off a cliff to practice courage. Begin by making decisions that stretch your comfort just a little beyond its current borders. Volunteer for a project that challenges your skills. Initiate a conversation you would normally avoid. Invest a small amount of time, energy, or resources into a new opportunity. These small acts of bravery compound over time, strengthening your willingness and capacity to take on bigger risks later. It's also important to learn from each risk you take, whether it succeeds or not. Every risk provides feedback. If the outcome is positive, analyze what worked and how you can build on it. If the outcome isn't what you hoped, study what went wrong without judgment. Was it a flaw in preparation, a misjudgment of the situation, or simply the natural unpredictability of life? Reflection after risk-taking is what transforms bold action into wisdom. It ensures that even when you stumble, you are stumbling forward. Calculated risks also reveal your true potential. You are capable of far more than you often realize. But you can only discover your hidden strengths by placing yourself in situations that require them. Comfort doesn't reveal your character. Challenge does. Facing uncertainty and taking action despite fear brings out resourcefulness, determination, and creativity you didn't know you had. Each time you succeed in pushing past your old limits, your self-image expands. You no longer see yourself as someone who merely dreams. You see yourself as someone who acts. There will always be voices, both external and internal, urging you to play it safe. People may project their own fears onto you. Your own mind may whisper warnings of imagined dangers. Recognize these voices for what they are. Attempts to keep you small, thank them for trying to protect you, and then move forward anyway. You don't need their permission to grow. You only need your own commitment to living fully and courageously. Taking calculated risks does not mean ignoring prudence. It means balancing boldness with wisdom. It means preparing thoroughly and acting decisively. It means understanding that risk and reward are inseparable. You minimize unnecessary risks through preparation, but you never eliminate all risks because doing so would also eliminate all real opportunities for growth. You also build resilience through risk-taking. Not every risk will pay off immediately. Some will bring setbacks. Some will hurt. But by taking ownership of your choices and learning from every outcome, you develop the kind of inner toughness that can't be taught by theory alone. You earn it through experience. Resilience isn't built in comfort. It's built in the arenas where you dare to challenge yourself. Taking calculated risks can also open doors you didn't even know existed. Opportunities often hide behind uncertainty. When you move toward the unknown, you encounter new people, ideas, and possibilities that would have remained invisible had you stayed still. The best things in life often come not from careful planning alone, but from a willingness to act when the path is only partially clear. Life rewards action, not perfection. Ultimately, a life without risk is a life without real growth. If you want to become more, you must be willing to face the fear of stepping into the unknown. You must train yourself to assess risks wisely, decide courageously, and move forward even when comfort tempts you to stay still. Risk is not your enemy. Fear is not your enemy. Stagnation is. Indecision is. Wasting your potential is. You owe it to yourself to live boldly, not timidly. You were not born to tiptoe through life, avoiding every uncertainty. You were born to discover what you are capable of. You were born to stretch the boundaries of your comfort zone until it becomes as wide as your dreams. And the way you do that is by taking calculated risks again and again, trusting that every step beyond what feels safe is a step toward who you were meant to become. Push your limits. Trust your growth. Embrace the challenge. The life you truly want is waiting on the other side of the risks you are willing to take today. Chapter 19. Stay consistent even when motivation is low or absent. Motivation is a powerful feeling, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes without warning. Some days you wake up energized, ready to tackle everything in your path. Other days you feel empty, uninspired, and disconnected from your goals. If you base your actions on how motivated you feel, your progress will be inconsistent and unpredictable. Success doesn't belong to those who act when they feel like it. Success belongs to those who act even when they don't. The real difference between those who achieve great things and those who don't is not found in bursts of excitement, but in steady, disciplined action regardless of mood. Staying consistent when you don't feel motivated demands a deeper commitment to your mission. It requires you to understand that feelings are temporary, but the results of your actions are lasting. On the days when motivation is low, you must lean on discipline, not emotion. Discipline becomes your anchor. It reminds you that showing up matters more than feeling excited. Discipline whispers, "Do it anyway," when your mind tries to make excuses. One powerful mindset shift is realizing that small daily actions compound over time into massive results. Skipping a day because you don't feel motivated seems harmless, but those skipped days accumulate. They weaken your momentum, erode your confidence, and make it easier to justify future lapses. Consistency is not about doing something perfectly every day. It's about refusing to break the chain. It's about showing up and giving whatever you have to give that day, even if it's less than usual. Building systems that support consistency is essential. When you rely on motivation alone, you're depending on something fragile, but when you create routines and habits, you make your actions automatic. You don't have to think about whether you feel like doing it. You just do it because it's part of who you are. Morning routines, scheduled work blocks, and daily rituals anchor you. They eliminate the decision-making process and reduce the friction between intention and action. Accountability can also be a strong ally. When you commit to a goal privately, it's easy to let yourself off the hook. When you involve others, a mentor, a friend, a community, you add an extra layer of responsibility. You're no longer just letting yourself down when you skip a day, you're breaking a promise to others. That pressure can help keep you moving when your inner fire dims. Another important strategy is reconnecting with your deeper why. When motivation fades, It's usually because you've lost touch with the meaning behind your actions. Remind yourself daily why you started. Visualize the long-term rewards of staying committed. Imagine the person you are becoming through your consistency. Motivation might not spark immediately, but reconnecting with purpose strengthens your resolve to keep going. Lowering the entry barrier can help too. When you feel unmotivated, the task ahead often feels overwhelming. Break it down into smaller, more manageable steps. Commit to just 5 minutes. Tell yourself, "I'll just start." Often starting creates momentum. Action breeds motivation far more reliably than waiting for motivation to breed action. Once you're moving, it becomes easier to keep moving. You must also accept that low motivation days are part of the journey. They are not signs that you are failing. They are not warnings to quit. They are tests of your character. Your ability to stay consistent when the excitement is gone proves to yourself that you are serious. It solidifies your identity as someone who follows through no matter what. When motivation is absent, focus on process over outcome. Instead of obsessing over how far you still have to go, concentrate on completing today's task. Keep your world small when your energy is low. Win the next decision. Do the next right thing. Trust that these small victories will compound and that motivation will eventually return as a reward for your persistence. It's also helpful to separate your feelings from your identity. Feeling tired, bored, or uninspired does not mean you are weak or incapable. It means you are human. Emotional states fluctuate. They are weather patterns, not permanent realities. You are not your feelings, you are the actions you take in spite of them. Every time you act against apathy, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who can be trusted to stay the course. Some of your most important work will happen when you feel the least inspired, because it's in those moments that you build resilience. You build the ability to endure. You develop mental toughness that no external cheerleader can give you. That kind of strength is priceless because it means you can be relied on in any circumstance, not just when the sun is shining and the winds are favorable. You should also practice self-compassion while demanding high standards from yourself. Being consistent doesn't mean being brutal toward yourself on tough days. It means honoring the commitment without self-punishment. It's recognizing that some days your best will be better than others, but what matters most is that you continue to give your best for that day. The goal is to keep the habit alive, even if the intensity must temporarily adjust. Staying consistent when motivation is low requires you to redefine success. Success is not a feeling, it's a decision. It's the choice to keep showing up even when you're tired, bored, discouraged, or distracted. It's the quiet determination to honor your commitments to yourself even when no one else is watching. It's the steady application of effort day after day, stacking tiny bricks of progress until you've built something extraordinary. Eventually, the discipline you forge in these low motivation moments becomes a massive competitive advantage. Most people quit when motivation disappears. They stop showing up. They let a bad mood or a bad day turn into a bad week or a bad month. But if you stay consistent, you separate yourself from the majority. You build a foundation of reliability and perseverance that makes achieving your goals inevitable over time. By embracing the reality that motivation is unreliable and choosing to act anyway, you become unstoppable. You are no longer at the mercy of fleeting emotions. You are guided by a deeper commitment, a stronger identity, and a clear vision of who you are becoming. You understand that greatness is not built on moments of high excitement, but on the quiet, disciplined work done in the shadows of discouragement. Consistency in the absence of motivation is where true transformation happens. It's where dreams stop being fantasies and start becoming realities. Every action you take when you least feel like it is an investment in the life you are creating. It is a statement to yourself and the world that you are serious, that you are resilient, and that nothing, not even the ebb and flow of your own feelings, will stop you from becoming the person you were meant to be. Keep going, keep building, keep trusting the process. The results will come because you will have earned them, one disciplined action at a time. Chapter 20. Celebrate every small victory to build momentum daily. Most people chase big victories, thinking that only the massive milestones deserve celebration. They wait until the end of the journey to allow themselves to feel proud, to acknowledge how far they've come. But this mindset robs them of the energy they need along the way. Progress isn't just made in giant leaps. It's built brick by brick, one small step at a time. Every small victory matters. Every tiny accomplishment deserves recognition because it fuels the next action and the next and the next after that. Momentum is created by honoring your growth daily, not by waiting for some distant endpoint. Celebrating small wins trains your mind to notice progress instead of problems. It rewires your focus. Instead of obsessing over how far you still have to go, you start appreciating how far you've already come. That change in focus is powerful. It transforms frustration into motivation. It turns impatience into persistence. When you acknowledge even the smallest improvements, you reinforce the belief that what you are doing matters and that you are capable of achieving more. Success is often invisible in the beginning stages. The results are small, the changes are subtle, and the outside world may not even notice. But just because something is small doesn't mean it's insignificant. Think about a seed growing underground. No one sees the roots forming. No one applauds the invisible progress. Yet without that unseen work, the visible growth would never happen. Your small daily victories are just like that. They are the roots of your future success. They need your attention, your acknowledgement, and your celebration. When you celebrate small wins, you build confidence. Each small success acts as proof that you are moving forward, that your efforts are paying off. Confidence doesn't appear from thin air. It is built by recognizing that your actions lead to results, no matter how minor those results might seem. Confidence grows when you stop dismissing your progress and start honoring it. It grows when you treat every forward step as a reason to keep going, rather than a reason to criticize yourself for not being faster. Celebrating small victories also keeps the journey enjoyable. Growth is not supposed to be a miserable, punishing experience. If you only allow yourself to feel good once you've achieved some enormous goal, you will spend most of your life feeling like a failure. But if you find reasons to celebrate every day, a completed task, a workout finished, a tough conversation handled with grace, you create a positive emotional connection to your goals. That positive emotion becomes a renewable source of energy that carries you through the inevitable challenges. You don't have to throw a party for every small win, but you do have to pause and acknowledge it. Take a moment to say, "That mattered." Write it down. Smile to yourself. Share the victory with someone who supports you. Reward yourself in a way that strengthens your commitment to your bigger vision. Maybe you finish a long project and treat yourself to a walk outside. Maybe you hit a personal record and take a few minutes to savor the feeling. These tiny celebrations anchor the experience in your mind and make it easier to chase the next win. It's important to personalize how you celebrate. Find what makes you feel energized and validated. Some people love tracking progress visually, crossing off days on a calendar, filling in a progress chart, marking milestones on a board. Others prefer verbal affirmations, reminding themselves that they are becoming stronger and more capable every day. Some enjoy small rewards, like a favorite meal, an hour of reading, or a new experience. The method matters less than the principle. Recognize and honor your progress consistently. A major trap to avoid is falling into the mindset that small wins are not enough. This thinking kills momentum. It breeds dissatisfaction. It makes you blind to growth. The truth is, big goals are achieved through an accumulation of small victories. If you can't learn to celebrate the small steps, you will likely burn out before you ever reach the larger destination. Gratitude for your own progress must become a daily practice, not a once-in-a-while event. Momentum is fragile at the beginning of any journey. Like a heavy train starting to move, it takes extra energy to get it rolling. But once it's moving, it becomes much harder to stop. Your small victories are the fuel for that momentum. Each one adds to the weight and speed of your forward motion. Each one makes it easier to take the next action and the next one after that. The more you honor your progress, the more unstoppable you become. Even setbacks can contain small victories if you choose to see them. Maybe you faced a tough challenge and didn't give up. Maybe you stumbled but got back up quicker than before. Maybe you learned something about yourself that will make you stronger in the future. Progress is not always a straight line. Sometimes the win is simply staying in the game when you could have quit. Celebrate that resilience. Celebrate that strength. Daily reflection can help you capture these small wins. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to ask yourself, what did I do well today? What small progress did I make? Write it down. Review it often. You'll be amazed at how much progress you are making when you take the time to notice it. This simple habit turns your mind into an ally instead of an enemy. It keeps you focused on what's working instead of what's missing. Never underestimate the psychological power of small celebrations. They create positive reinforcement loops in your brain. They train you to associate effort with reward. They make discipline feel rewarding instead of punishing.